us, Pastor Timothy All from First Baptist Church, the Plains, Virginia, with us. Amen.
So there's a cross for everyone, and there's a cross for me. I came to Jesus just as I was, weary, wounded, and sad. But I found in him a resting place, and he has made me glad. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. I'll say to you, like the woman who had 5 husbands said to her 6th, don't worry, I won't keep you long. To those of you here in the sanctuary and those tuned in by social media or conference call, continue to pray for this revival, that God would have his way with all who participate, that souls would be not only saved, but those of us who attend church regular would grow and realize that we can do better, that we can rise above the pettiness of personal desire and agenda and allow the power of God to quicken our hearts to serve the living God. That's what revival is all about. How we can serve one another in the power of God. When Jesus makes a house call, I said earlier that I promise you I won't be before you long, but I do want to stand before you strong. Whatever we are going through, whatever we are dealing with on a daily basis, Jesus is the answer. I know it may not seem like it. I know it may seem like you got more going out than you got coming in. I know it seems like your patience may be on its last leg. Your attitude may be ready to go a whole different direction. But hold on and hold out, because God has an answer, and all we have to do is look for it. A hymnologist said, when we walk with the Lord, in the light of his word, what a glory he sheds on our way. When we do his good will, he abides with us still. All we need do is trust and obey. Trust and obey. I feel like preaching already. For there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. If you would give me a few moments, I'd like to just spend a little time dealing with this story. Many of you have read it before. Serious Bible students have read it more than once. But I want to deal with this issue of when Jesus makes a house call. There was a time, beloved, there was a time when people could get sick and the local physician would come to their house to provide medical care. Are y'all going to pray with me? There was a time when the milkman brought you a couple of jars of milk early in the morning. Y'all going to pray with me and leave it on your front door. There was a time when the insurance man would come by and pick up his policy payments. Talk back to me. There was a time when things would come to our house, but as we got older, as time began to move on, as technology began to creep into our lives, we became more distant. We had to now go and find the services that used to come to our house. Well, I want you to know that house calls were common, but as time and technology progressed, this practice slowly fades away. But please know that our God is an innovator. House calls were not created by some man. Jesus made the first house call. And as we begin to read the text and dig in it a little deeper, we'll find out that Jesus specializes in personal visits. Jesus will interrupt your family gathering. He will invade your church. He will come into your heart. He'll come into your house. And what he'll do is absolutely move furniture around. He'll rearrange things on the inside. He'll create things on the inside that manifest on the outside. There's something about when Jesus comes into your house, he comes to move furniture around. Don't get so comfortable with the couch where it used to be. Don't get so comfortable with the refrigerator being in the same place. Don't get so comfortable with your TV being set at a certain angle, because when Jesus comes into your house, there's some things that he wants to move around. I'm not going to stay here too long, but I want you to know that our God is an innovator. Now, in the business world, we have a saying that there are three types of people in this world. In business, there are innovators. These are people who create. They come up with these new ideas, these gadgets, these tools that we use, that we come so dependent on. We are dependent on some of this technology, but they are wise and they are necessary innovations. So there are innovators in society. And then there are imitators. There are these people who look at what was already done and then try to improve on that innovation. In other words, some folk have learned how to make a mousetrap better. Some folk have learned, come on, talk back to me. Some folk have learned how to make a better mousetrap. And so we have in society innovators. Those are people who sit down and figure out ways to create things that will be able to be moved into the marketplace where people can utilize them. God is a great innovator, and then people are great imitators. But then after you deal with the innovator, then you deal with the imitator, then you deal with the idiot. And the idiot is the person that comes along that has been around so long, but they've had their head stuck in the sand. They didn't know what was going on. The time they brought their head up, they thought they came up with the idea. Come on. They go invest their money, spend all their time only to realize it's already been done. Well, there's some things in life that you and I have to realize have already been done. I wish I had a praying church, because every now and again you're going to find yourself in a situation that you don't have the answer. But I stopped by to tell you the answer is already here. Jesus is our answer. Whatever we are going through, whatever we are dealing with on a daily basis, Jesus is the answer. I know it may not seem like it. I know it may seem like you got more going out than you got coming in. I know it seems like your patience may be on its last leg. Your attitude may be ready to go a whole different direction. But hold on and hold out, because God has an answer, and all we have to do is look for it. Let me spend a little time dealing with the text. Jesus makes a house call. This chapter begins with Jesus entering because he wanted to pass through Jericho. As we see in verse 1 that Jesus is coming into Jericho and he meets a man named Zacchaeus. Now, when he meets this man, at first glance, we don't know much about him. Are y'all going to help me preach? We don't know much about him, but what we do know, the text does reveal to us. The text says, first of all, we don't know much about him because we don't know who his parents are. We don't know who his mom and his dad are. We don't know his family background. We don't know. The text really doesn't tell us that. The text doesn't tell us about his educational background. We don't know how smart he was. We don't know much about this man. We don't know what school he attended. We don't even know his marital status. But we do know that he was in Jericho at the same time Jesus was passing through. All right, come on. And because that's what we know, we can take a further look into the text, and we'll find that we get little glimpses of this little man. I'll spend a little time on that later, but I want you to know that when we read the text, we find little glimpses that will present a clearer picture of the man. And as the text reveals the man, so does time. That's a point that I want us to make during this revival. We must learn how to take our time and let God work not only on us, but let him work on others. You know, too many times we make our minds up about a person before that person has been finished. We look at a person and we judge them based on the way they are living now, but we don't know what God has in store for them later. Are y'all going to help me preach this morning? Because every now and again, you're going to find somebody that may not be where you are in life. But don't ever forget, they may be just like you. The problem with a lot of us is we've been saved for so long that we think that we've been saved all our little old lives. But I stopped by to tell you that you and I, no matter how good we are on our best day, our righteousness is as filthy rags. And so too many of us walk around with this proud, this haughty spirit, like God can't do anything lest he crosses it across your desk. There can't nothing happen in the church unless they talk to you. Oh, let me not get too close in your business. You know, there are some folk, I'm not talking about the folk in this church, but you know, there are some folk in church that they think is all about them and it ain't never about anybody else. They want all the pastor's time. They want all the pastor's attention. They don't care about what's going on. All they're concerned about is what they need, and they need it now. That's why they don't care nothing about time. They don't care about the fact that the pastor been up all night long, and they're going to call him at 3 o'clock in the morning to ask him a question about a revelation they just got. Let me move on. Don't call me at 3 o'clock in the morning talking about what the Lord told you. Wait till I get up, decent hours. Call me at about 8:30 when I roll out of bed, get the sleep out of my eyes and brush my teeth, and then tell me what thus said the Lord. And then maybe you might get a response from me. But if you call me 3 o'clock in the morning, you might get a voice. Let me move on. Can I move on? I promise you I'm not going to be before you long. And so the text reveals the man, and so does time. Yes, time to the student of life will reveal much needed information. Like I said, too many times we have already made up our mind about a thing. Stop making these snap decisions about people. We are making long-term decisions based on short-term events. Many of us have been guilty of making rash decisions because all we saw was the challenge that was in front of us. But the truth of the matter is, our God can see around corners. He can peep through walls. He looks down through the portals of time. Matter of fact, he can see your beginning before you even get started. Let me move on to the text. Time can be your best friend because time, respecting time and relieving time of the pressure of impatience is woven into being patient. Let me say that one more time. In other words, what makes time frustrating is impatience. That's how I want to say it. Yeah, help me, Holy Ghost. That's how I want to say it, is learning how to be patient, not only with yourself, but with others. Because you and I know that it wasn't just too long ago we didn't have these nice suits. Wasn't too long ago that we wasn't wearing dresses below our knees. Talk back to me, ladies. There was a time when our dress was questionable. But now that we've gotten in the church and we've gotten so sanctified or self-righteous that we look down on people who dress like we used to. We look down on people who don't look like us or talk like us or act like us. We look down on them. And sometimes we even discard them. But Jesus is not that way. There's a difference between the people of God and the people of the world. Let me move on. Am I taking too long? Yes, the student of life will reveal much needed information if we use or take our time. There are a few things time will do for us. If you have your pen, please put your coffee down and your donut. Step away from the table. Pull yourself out a pen, a piece of paper, or maybe grab something you can screenshot and take a look, because there are three things that time will do for us. One, time will clarify intentions. Time will clarify intentions. You know, too many times, in many cases, we start out with the best of intentions. Many of our great organizations all started out with the best of intentions. Well, let me just go on ahead and hit the headlines. Did you know that the Ku Klux Klan was originally a social group? They were a society of people that were put in the community to help the community. But then it morphed into this separatist, hate-filled, racial dividing group. It started out right, but it ended up wrong. We use the NAACP was a group that wasn't started by black folk, started by two Jewish men. Nothing wrong with that, but the point is now they become so political that we are not dealing with the issues that are dealing with our society today. I'm not saying they're irrelevant. I'm just saying if we're not careful, time will cause us to become distant from the purpose that we were originally designed. Well, the church is really no different. The church is no different. If we're not careful, we'll find some of the very liberties that we have been taking for granted. I know I'm right on somebody's street. Let me just pull up, honk the horn, open the garage, let me in. I'm trying to tell you that there are some things that we have taken for granted. And this virus has, if it hadn't done anything, has shown us that in the click of an eye, in the twinkling, all it takes is a second. And you can go from standing in the front of someone shouting hallelujah in the city to laying down with a respirator and a face mask, if you're not careful. Time will clarify intentions. Just give it time. Too many times our young girls, our young boys get in relationships and all. They walk around with all this cloud running around in their mind. It's, oh, I just love her. I just love him. But you just met them. Yeah, but I love them. No, the truth is you love what you know about them now. Oh, but give it time. Give it time. The sweetest thing in the world when you first get started can end up being the sourest thing if you give it time. If you really want to find out how sweet something really is, if you want to know if it's sweet through and through, give it time. Yeah, if you could open the door for me the first day we met, maybe you can open the door a year later, even though I haven't given into time. Time will reveal all intentions. If you're a gentleman the first day, you'll be a gentleman on 365th day. If you're a gentleman, but if you're nothing but a scoundrel, just give it time. I can only talk from a male perspective because I'm a man. Ain't nothing weak about me. Ain't nothing wishy-washy about me. I'm all man all the time. Listen, let me help y'all understand something. I am not sweet and low. I'm not down low. And even though I've been saved for 31 years, I'm about 15 from being low down. I'm trying to help somebody. See, the problem with a lot of folk is that we are questioning the wrong thing. Let me move on. Time will reveal all intentions. Y'all got that one? The second one is time will reveal all deception.